Welcome back to the Starting Four podcast for episode 13. We'll be going over our week 7 NFL storylines and our week 8 NFL picks. I'm Tabor.
I'm Thomas.
I'm Jake.
So to get it started, one of our week's seven storylines, we got the Eagles offense finally woke up. Jalen Hurts threw over 300 passing yards. AJ Brown and Devontae Smith did some work. Was a little shaky and did get hurt during the game, but I think he should be back. I don't think it's that serious of an injury. Um, I the Eagles looked really good. If they can continue this into the following weeks, they could be very dangerous and maybe make another Super Bowl run. How you two, how do you feel about the Eagles offense last week and in the future?
Um, yeah, it was good to see like passing game woke up. Was that Jalen's first 300-yard game? Did I read
Yeah, it's
correctly?
I think it was the first one in like not including playoffs in like 18 weeks or something. So
Yeah.
it's been a little while.
Yeah, so I saw that. That's good to see, obviously. And I know Saquon got injured, but he still hasn't rushed for 100 yards once this year. For I know it's like, well, he had a great last year, but you're paying a man that anyone could do what he's doing for pennies of what you're paying him. So, it's still Saquon, not concerned, but it is a little interesting that he just really hasn't done much and not been effective. Yet they're still what 5-2. So,
Yeah.
but like even with like the lackluster offense, they're still 5-2. So
No, yeah, I mean I think they looked a lot better this week as someone who was kind of suspect of the offensive environment this year. Uh More than what was actually going on the field, but it seems like there's some off the field stuff that has been swirling around the Eagles, but yeah, their passing game looked great this week. Jalen was connecting with both AJ and Devontae downfield. It was really all you could ask for as an Eagles fan or anybody just kind of wanting to see that offense do what we know it can. Um, and then yeah, regarding Saquon, I think my suspicion is he's kind of been dealing with something like the whole season, whether it's like something that happened in the postseason last year or whatever. But yeah, he hasn't really looked like himself. So I think they're just kind of trying to play it safe and hopefully have himself healthy for whenever they're back in the playoffs. So yeah, I'm excited to see what they do going forward.
Mhm. Next is the amazing comeback Bo Nix had against the New York Giants in the fourth quarter, down 19-0 to start the fourth, and scores 33 points to win 33-32. Um, Me being an Oregon fan and having Bo Nix come back is pretty exciting. Having him on fantasy as well was great for the fantasy team. But that the comeback was crazy. It didn't look like they had anything until the fourth quarter. He made two rushing touchdowns. I will say Jackson Dart had a costly pick that really turned that game on its head
Yeah.
and
Yeah, it
allowed
was
the
at a bad
Broncos.
time for sure.
Yeah, terrible time. And I felt like they should have just ran the ball. With this comeback, them staying in first place in their division, do you think they build on this and come back and beat the Cowboys this week after Cowboys win last week?
um, I personally am going to be taking the uh hold on. I'm taking the
Cowboys.
Cowboys. Yeah, I actually think they've looked very solid. But besides that point, uh, on top of that, what am I Jackson Dart pick? I know their kicker. I didn't even watch the game. I just was reading. Their kicker missed two field goals. Um, and then, yeah, I wasn't watching the game. I checked ESPN, saw that the Giants were up 19-0 in the fourth with like, and that's when I saw the score update and I'm like, wow. I go to check it later and I'm like, how is there 33-32 with no over? Like, it didn't make sense to me. Um, Good comeback, but even if they win the division and beat the Cowboys, this Chiefs team is going to be a problem once again. This Chiefs team is a very scary team, and so they can win the division, but that's a sleeping giant in the Chiefs again.
Yeah. No, I was impressed. I know Dart kind of had the costly pick, but I mean, even he looked good for most of the game. They obviously were winning 19-0 at one point, so I thought he looked good and kind of played in control up until the fourth quarter. And then yeah, Bo Nix played the best quarter of football in recent memory. I cannot remember the last time I looked at a NFL scoreboard where someone scored all their points in the fourth quarter and won. Like it's
And that
absurd.
their
So
first touchdown in the fourth was a tip to Troy
yeah,
Franklin.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
it was
it
just
was
like,
like a
it was
lucky
crazy. And
play.
then the Giants, yeah, missed the extra point that gave the Broncos a chance to win it instead of tying and going to overtime. But
Yeah.
yeah.
The Giants did everything they could to lose that game in the fourth quarter, and the
Mm,
Broncos just took advantage. So
yes.
Yep.
Okay, next and lastly is coach's hot seat. We have two coaches on the hot seat. We think one is Mike McDaniels and another is Aaron Glenn. First, let's get the take on Mike McDaniels. I think he should get fired. He's struggling with the Dolphins. I know just the draft and building that team doesn't look great for him. Like there's Tyreek Hill, he's injured. Jalen Waddle's doing pretty good. Well, not didn't have the best game last week, but looks solid. Then A-Chain's look good. It's Tua. Tua's really the main factor. O-line's decent, not the best. But that team is doesn't look good. But I think Mike McDaniels should move on. They should move on from Mike McDaniels. How do you feel about that?
I agree. I mean, Brian Flores warned the Miami Dolphins about Tua, and they decided to fire him instead of get rid of Tua, kind of biting them right now. But not only like with just like I've also seen that um Waddle's a big topic in the trade in like before the trade deadline. Like he's expected to get moved possibly.
Yeah.
But besides like on the field, Mike McDaniel off the field has seemed like he doesn't even care how bad the Dolphins are. His post game conferences are just the like weirdest things I've ever watched. Like he just won't like he just like is like so nonchalant about like how trash his team is that he's probably not gonna have a job in the next 3 weeks. It just confuses me, but that's all I have to say about that.
yeah, no, I've always liked Mike McDaniel as a play caller, but I've never thought that he was the right guy to lead a group of men. Um, I I'll just say the past few weeks I've been shocked every week that he hasn't been fired. I was shocked that he wasn't fired immediately after the loss to the Browns, but yeah, I just think it's gotten to a point where like y'all said, like Tua, it's clear at this point he's not the answer. Tyreek is done. Um, Waddle, and I believe I've seen stuff that Achan is like. There have also been teams reaching out about Achan's availability. Um, so yeah, it's seeming like kind of they're putting all their cards on the table, and I'll be shocked if McDaniel isn't fired in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, next is Aaron Glenn. My take, I don't think he should get fired. It's his first year taking on the New York Jets team hasn't been relevant mostly in the last couple of years. Um, and the just QB play is just terrible. Justin Fields, all he can do is really run. They should probably put him at running back. He could maybe make a bigger impact, but they paid him a lot of money, 2 years, too. But they haven't won a game. I don't think it's his fault. They allowed 13 points to the Panthers. Their offense can't score more than 13. Is kind of sad against the Panthers.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just a struggle, but struggle for the Jets, and I don't think it's all Aaron Glenn's fault. And right now they're sitting at the number one pick.
It's
And
not the best class to have the number one pick, but
I will say there are
Not
some
the better
QBs.
than better than this past year.
Yes, I will say there's QBs that I would be confident taking number one. Um, but I'm not saying they're an immediate starter in the
yeah.
NFL. So I think Aaron Glenn should stay. How do you guys
I
feel?
actually like that as well. I know I haven't put him on the hot take. I've been hot seat. I've been seeing a lot of just like his name and people calling for his job. I don't agree with it either. I like him as a coach, and I don't think he's put into like the worst situation in the NFL essentially. And then just like a side note, Woody Johnson is the biggest clown ass in the NFL, bro. I mean, he defends Glenn, which I like, but then just to like openly just rip into Justin Fields is absurd as an owner. Just like no PR training. Like, I think until that guy is willing to sell the team, that Jets are going to be cooked. But yeah, I think Aaron Glenn should stay. Sounds like Woody's not going to fire, like, not in a rush to get rid of him. And that guy seems to run more of it than anyone else. So
I will, for the most part, I agree with y'all that it's kind of hard to grade his coaching performance given they're 0 and 7. He definitely I don't really think you can make an argument that he's been good, but I'll say I would not be surprised if he was fired after the season, maybe. Just like if they win one game and secure the number one overall pick, maybe they want a offensive minded sort of coach to come in. It's also going to depend on what the head coaching cycle is looking like next year, which obviously we don't know that right now. But for the most part, like I personally like Aaron Glenn. I like the hire when it happened, but you can't win with the offense, so he's kind of has that working against him. But I also have not been impressed with their defense at all this year. I know they've been dealing with some injuries and stuff, but like they just have not impressed me, and they haven't had a lot of turnovers, which obviously is kind of the one thing that they could have that they don't right now. So
this is kind of like we didn't have it written down, just kind of wanted to touch over it since it is kind of breaking. Where do y'all think Tyler Lockett is going to end up?
the retirement home.
You
Yeah,
think?
I don't think he's gonna go.
Really? You
I
didn't
don't,
think picks him up?
yeah, it's like he's I don't know how old he is. He's been in the league for quite a while. If you're getting dropped by the Titans, it's
I think it was like I think he like asked to be
Yeah,
waived,
he
and
requests,
they were just like okay.
but like,
like I can see
could a
him
team like
going
the Bucks pick him up just to have depth at this point?
Bucks. They
I
can
could see a
do
couple teams like my Steelers. I wouldn't hate
yeah,
if they went and brought him in,
That's
but
just like a depth play. You know what I mean? Like a
like
guy that can give your guys some rest, and you know he's not going to just be a complete garbage out the garbage can out there.
yeah. We'll see. I don't know how much he gets paid, so we'll see how that situation happens. But there's multiple teams that do need depth at wide receiver to make a run. So we'll see. But next week we'll probably talk more about the trade deadline coming up. So we'll talk about trade candidates and if any trades go on, we will talk about that next episode. Let's get into the picks. We got the week 8 picks. We didn't have an episode last week, so we don't have records from last week. But to start off our picks, we got Vikings versus the Chargers Thursday night football. It's at Los Angeles, I'm pretty sure, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, Justin Herbert, he's fallen back down to earth after his first couple of weeks being an MVP candidate. Um, and then Vikings, Carson Wentz is looking all right, managing the offense like that's the
Yeah.
best he can do. Jordan Addison looked great last week against the Eagles. But with that, I'm taking the Chargers. I feel like they need to get back on the ship. That division is loaded. And if they keep on losing, they're gonna fall behind and have no chance of making the playoffs. So I got the Chargers.
Yeah, I also agree. I have the Chargers. I mean, they're 1-3 in their last four with their only win coming against the Dolphins. So they're in big need of like a solid win, even though it's a win-led Vikings. It's still Vikings are 3-3. So I mean, I feel like it's almost a must win in the Chargers to keep their what they're aspiring for this season alive. And they're at home. So I know it doesn't mean much to be at home when you're at play for the Chargers, but yeah, give me the Chargers.
All right. I for lack of better words, I like the Vikings in this. Kind of, you said it right at the end. The Chargers really never have a true home game. So this 3.5 point spread, I wrote all the spreads down. The 3.5 point spread for the Chargers makes me a little nervous. I think this game is a true coin toss. I was actually looking right before we started filming. I believe Joe Alt is expected to be back in play, barring any like pregame
Mhm.
setback or anything like that. But like he's expected to suit up, so that should be good for the Chargers. But yeah, they've looked. Herbert has managed the best he could, but they've looked rough the past couple weeks. Their O line, like Herbert threw. I think Herbert threw for like 400, like 420 yards last week. He
Yeah,
threw the
and
ball like 55 times. Like they just
he had a career high passing yard. It was like 420 something.
like they
For
they have they have no run game right now because their O line is just a liability right now. So I'm expecting the Vikings to take advantage of that. Brian Flores is a terrifying coordinator to go up against. So I like the Vikings, but I think it's going to be a good game.
yeah. Next, we got the Giants versus Eagles. Eagles coming off a great win against the Vikings last week. Their offense really put it on them with passing the ball at least. Giants coming off a brutal loss in the fourth quarter. Not even a true game, but fourth quarter was the whole game.
Mhm.
Um, and I just think with that loss it will hurt the Giants pretty, and it's just like they're defeated after that, and I just think it carries on to the next week. So I think the Eagles continue their dominant offense and put it on the Giants.
I see. I'm taking the Giants for the same reason, but opposite. I think, especially with these younger guys, like I don't know, something about Dart and the Scat Pack have me feeling that like that just kind of motivates them, like because like I don't know, both those guys are just like they go out there and they put everything on the line. It feels like so. It's something tells me like they those two do not like losing at all. So I think it almost motivates them, at least just those two, as but they've also started to fill in leadership roles. So I feel like they're gonna take this as a time to be like, guys, we got like an interdivision game, divisional game. Like let's go show them. Let's just go win this game and make everyone forget about last week and talk about how we just beat the 5-2 Eagles. So I like the Giants.
Yeah, no, I've gone back and forth a little bit on this game. Obviously, these teams played 2 weeks ago in New York or in New Jersey, but in New York, and obviously it was an upset that not a lot of people expected. Giants just kind of shut down whatever the Eagles are trying to do on offense. I will just say I coming into the season, if you were to tell me that the Giants would have swept the Eagles, I would have called you crazy. And I don't think I've changed on that sentiment a ton. So I like the Eagles, but the spread I believe is 7.5 right now. I do like the Giants to cover, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm expecting the Eagles to take care of business this time. I do think it'll be a competitive game, but I think they'll probably be in control for most of it.
Yeah. Next game, we got the Bears versus Ravens. Bears are on a roll. Ben Johnson's coaching that team pretty well recently. Caleb looks great. It was a little shaky in the Saints game,
Mm.
what I saw, but came out with the win. And then Ravens, they've been struggling. They've gotten killed the last couple weeks. Lamar Jackson's been hurt, but he's been practicing, so we'll see coming off a bye.
Coming
We'll
off
see
the
if he
bye.
plays. He should play, I feel like. But that defense has not looked really good the last couple of weeks. They got blown out by the Texans, and the Texans don't have a O line. So I think the Bears keep on rolling, getting a big win against the Ravens, and really helping their chances out to make a playoffs and maybe make a playoff run.
Yeah. So I think today was Lamar's first day back at practice, and
I was just checking that. Yes,
he
there's
was
his
he
first
was
day back.
limited, and he didn't. So I don't. Like, it's very still up in the air whether he's going to play, just because until today he hadn't touched the field at all in what 3 4 weeks.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I
they
think
still there's still a lot of concern whether he's going to play. I know Roquan Smith is coming back, I believe, for the defense, so that should help a little. Bears, we've been riding too much of a high. Like it's been 4 phenomenal weeks for us Bears fans. So I think it's finally got to come. We've got to come down to earth as a team because 4-2, like, yeah, I love. I hope we're 5-2 by Sunday, but I think realistically we're gonna drop more games than a few this season, and I can just see this as one of those games that, win four in a row. I don't think we're not going to be a 12-4 or 12-5 team or anything. We'll probably be 8-9, 9-8. So yeah, I expect us to lose. I'm going to take the Ravens.
All right. I yeah, the Ravens coming out of a bye is pretty scary. I'm sure y'all saw the report that apparently the Ravens removed all of their fun stuff, all of their like ping pong tables and TVs and video game stuff from their locker room, which I can't help but laugh at. I'm like, these are grown men. You're taking
But,
away their
but at the same
their
time, it's like
stuff.
Harbaugh will do anything but blame himself for them losing. So
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I think the finger is being pointed at the wrong people. But yeah, Ravens coming out of a bye. Bears were able to get the win last week. The run game had its best performance of the season. Swift had another good game. Kyle Monangai, um, his best performance of the season. I think he's his snap share has steadily been rising.
yep,
So I think I'm not going to say a 50-50 split, but I think it's going to be closer to a
70-30,
yeah,
60 type.
like a 60-40, maybe 55-45, where Swift's getting more of the receiving, passing down stuff, and Monangai's getting more of the short yardage in between the tackle stuff, which I think given the types of runners they are, that would probably be smart. I trust Ben Johnson in that regard. Um, but yeah, I'm circling. I'm sorry, but yeah, Ravens coming off a bye. I think they're hungry. I think Derrick Henry is hungry for a big game
And
after.
Bears have a pretty booty rush, like run defense.
Yeah, y'all let Genty run all over you. Uh, I could see a similar type of thing from Henry this week. So give me the Ravens.
Okay. Uh, Next we got the Cowboys versus the Broncos in Denver. Um, Cowboys coming off a great win against Commanders, really put it on them. They got CD back. George Pickens looks great in the offense now. And everything's clicking on the offense side. Defense looked great. Um, don't know how good the defense truly is because the Commanders haven't looked great on offense this year, up and down. So we'll see. But Broncos, they've been good. They haven't been great. It takes Bo Nix 3 quarters to finally settle in and actually play recently. So if the Cowboys are close against the Broncos in the fourth, I might take the Broncos might win. And I feel like that's gonna happen. So I'm taking the Broncos to win in the fourth quarter.
For no other reason than it's a yearly cycle that we go through. Both teams are playing good. Like this is a must win for the Cowboys to get the complete hype back of the team and have everyone talking about them again and get all the fans' hopes up. They just beat the Broncos. We're
They
going
beat
to
a
the
good
yeah,
defense.
yeah, we're going to the Super Bowl. We have what are they? Are they 4-3-1 or are they
They're 3 and
Three
one.
and one.
so they're gonna be above 500? It's just like a recipe for typical Dallas, just like just big splash in the media waiting to happen. Um, they're playing at home, correct?
I think the
Pittsburgh.
Broncos are at home.
Broncos are at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well that maybe changes it. But Dak's been balling. That if I mean if that team either somehow wins the division or goes to the playoffs, I mean he's a true MVP candidate. So I like the Cowboys.
I I will say I like the Broncos, but I think this is personally the game I'm most excited for this week. I think the Broncos are probably one of, if not the most well-rounded teams in football. I think it's hard to point out a weakness on in any of their positions. So maybe their wide receiver core isn't as good as some would like, but um, Cowboys, on the other hand, their offense has been doubly the best in football. I was very high on them coming into the year, and even I can say I've been very impressed with what they've been able to do. Javonte Williams has had seemingly a career resurgence at this point. This is also a revenge game for any of those who care. So I think that could be a potential narrative. But yeah, game is in Denver. Kind of going back to what Thomas said, I think this is going to be a close game, and I could see the Broncos squeezing it out. So give me the Broncos.
Yeah. Now we got the Sunday night game, Packers versus the Steelers. Packers coming off of a 4-point win, I'm pretty sure, against the Cardinals. Looked all right, nothing special. Cardinals haven't looked good this year. They kept every game close, but offense has
Shout out
not
Trey
been
McBride.
good. 2 touchdowns.
Great game.
But Packers easily could have lost that game if the Cardinals weren't the worst team in the world. Um, and then Steelers, they've had a decent season. They're doing all right. Their wide receiver depth hasn't been really, it's getting tested a little. They probably will look for a wide receiver in the trade deadline, hopefully. But and they're coming off of a brutal loss to the Bengals. So I got the Steelers winning this game. I just don't feel like the Packers are living up to all the hype coming in the season with getting Micah Parsons, and so I got the Steelers winning this in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I also agree. At home, hard environment to play in. Steelers have looked very surprisingly good to me this year. The Rodgers experiment has worked out in their favor for the most part. And I hate the Packers, so let's go Steelers.
Are y'all seriously doing this to me?
Yep.
Bro, I have it written down. Steelers by a field goal. And if I, bro, we can't all bet on the Steelers this week. I talk about the teams real quick. Uh, I think the Steelers like offense versus Packers defense. I think we match up pretty well against them, but we, as you said, don't have a ton of talent on the offensive side of the ball. But we have Rodgers, and I think he is going to do absolutely everything he can to win this game. We'll see if it comes back to bite him. I think last week we won't get too much into it, but kind of just two badly timed interceptions, like really turn the tide in the game. Like they weren't like late in the game or anything like that. Like there was still time left, but it was just like right before halftime, and then like we're driving down the field, potential to get points when we turn the ball over. So yeah, I like the Steelers by a field goal this week, but I'm expecting this to not be high scoring. Probably 20-17. Whichever team scores 20 is probably winning this game. So give me the Steelers.
Uh, Last game on the slate is Monday Night Football, Commanders versus Chiefs. Um, with this being said, it's not the most popping out game with how the Commanders have looked this year. Beginning of season, it might have been a much more enticing game, but Jane Daniels is hurt, so Marcus Mariota is starting. Go Ducks. But the Chiefs have looked really good the last couple of weeks. Patrick Mahomes is firing. Rashid Rice is back. Xavier Worthy. Their offense is loaded with talent. Um, and I just think they're too good, and that division, their division's gonna really need to look at the Chiefs in the future. I got the Chiefs winning this game.
Yeah, I mean, Commanders are without Jaden Daniels. Chiefs are back to their full firing form on offense, so I don't think it's going to be close. I also like the Chiefs.
Yeah, no, I'll keep it pretty short. I like the Chiefs. The one thing I'd like to say is obviously big thing with the Chiefs. Rashee Rice coming off suspension has 7 catches for 42 yards and 2 touchdowns on 10 targets last week. He only played 41% of the snaps. I know they pulled the starters like in the third quarter because it was an absolute blowout by then, but like he wasn't like he was basically coming in whenever he was coming on the field, he was getting the ball. So um, I think the wheels are all the way up for him. The Chiefs building, everybody in the building seems like they've been just waiting for Rasheed. Like he's the missing piece. Like once we get him back, we're back. We're rolling. So yeah, I'm not expecting this to be a particularly competitive game at all. Give me the Chiefs.
Okay. That being said, that's the end of the episode. Thanks for watching the Starting Point podcast, and see you guys next time.
Thank you guys.
See ya.